Hello there, guys, and welcome back to my channel for a live reaction and player ratings live stream following Chelsea 2, Liverpool 2. Oh my days, what a game. What a game, what a crazy, crazy game. What a crazy, crazy few days we've had at Chelsea bloody football club. Oh my God. Wow. I don't even know what to say, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. I don't even know what to say. Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, we got rid of Lukaku, so we got in a replacement, and he goes by the name of VJ. Or Sportswire, whichever you want to go with. VJ, cheers for joining us as a new guest. How do you feel after that? Because, yeah, we would have all loved to win, but after going 2-0 down, I think all of us didn't really expect much anymore at that point. At least I will be totally honest. I gave up hope. I can't lie. But the boys turned around, never gave up. Could we have won it in the second half? Yeah, we could have done. But at the end of the day, we got a draw against Liverpool from 2-0 down. You can't really be too upset, can you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one thing that was kind of disappointing for me was we actually dominated the ball position from the start of the game. We conceded a couple of goals, but then the ball position was still with us. I was doing the watch along. I was really devastated for that first two goals. I was pretty much like you. I gave up on the game because, you know what? They kind of found us out with this long ball tactics and Chalobah's weakness on that right centre-back position. I don't know what he was doing for the first goal, to be honest, but we'll get into the details probably later. But I think the way that Chelsea came back showed the mentality and the character, not just of the players on the pitch, but Thomas Tuchel as well. Absolutely brilliant. And this is one of the best performances that I've watched from Chelsea Football Club this season. And I'm really proud of my club.
Yeah, honestly, Con, thank you for coming. I'll get to you last because I actually want to hear your thoughts about the whole Lukaku drama as well. So I'll go with Clutch first. Clutch, as always, cheers for coming on. Similar feelings to VJ, or because I'm not quite sure I'll go along with it as one of the best performances this season, but in terms of emotion and energy, for sure.
As always, thank you, Laurenz, for inviting me. I do think as far as performances go, to go down 2-0 to Liverpool and then fight back that way against Liverpool, I think that shows a lot of heart that maybe probably in the last 3 weeks we didn't have previously. So I do think we had a really, really good game because I think once Kovacic had that wonder goal, we seemed like we had our confidence back. We lost it all when Pulisic kind of bottled his one-on-one with the keeper. And from then on, it seemed like we got dejected a little bit, but after we went down 2-0, we didn't stop fighting, and probably should have came out with a win because I think we were the better team in the end. I think we played better. We deserved more out of the game than they did because, they just wanted to defend, and even then, the only defender that I even rate at Liverpool right now is Van Dijk, and he didn't have himself a great game, I guess. But, Pulisic got a goal, happy. Kovacic had a wonder goal. Kai Havertz got some minutes in the leg, so I'm really happy about that as well.
There you go. No, definitely. We will talk about Pulisic in a second, obviously. I put it in the title and the thumbnail, like 0-0, like you said there, missed the sitter. Then, in my opinion, partly to blame for the second goal, for Salah's goal. But then, obviously, turning up with that equalizer, what a finish as well. And obviously, I think all of us went a bit mental when that goal went in. But Con, like I said, appreciate you so much for coming on. Hope you had a good, I haven't chatted to you in a minute, so I hope you had a good New Year's. But obviously, touch on the game. But not only did we get a 2-0 from 2-0 down, we also got a 2-0 from 2-0 down after one of the most hectic few days and chaotic few days I can remember Chelsea Football Club having in the middle of a season. Because sure, the Costas drama with Conte happened, but that was after the season. So in the season, to be dropped completely, and Tuchel's comments before the game, it's crazy. It's crazy. But yeah, your thoughts on the game overall, and obviously, however much you want to say about the Lukaku situation, go on.
Oh, sorry, I was muted. Second.
There you go. Go on.
Yeah, football won today, bro. It's Liverpool and City, I guess, because we drew. But that was a hell of a game of football, man. That was such a great watch. When we went 2-0 down, obviously I was annoyed, but I didn't think we was out of it. I knew that if we got the next goal, we had to get back. We was all over them. The intensity we was playing at today was ridiculous. I've never seen anything like it from us. The players love Tuchel. You can see that they played their hearts out for him today. Just a great game of football, but we'll probably get into it more when we do the player rating, so I won't ramble on too much. And with the Lukaku thing, bro, you guys have probably summed it up well enough. But But for me, I just think he's an idiot. I just think what he did was idiotic, man. That's all I want to say on that.
Exactly. I mean, I will ask all of you three, because obviously when we last spoke, when we did the preview yesterday, we were like, to be honest, like I didn't want Lukaku to start. But if I'm being perfectly honest, I expected Lukaku to start. And when obviously the news came out, I think there were rumors started last night, and then obviously he got kind of confirmed by the Athletic throughout the day today that he was going to be not just dropped to the bench, but left out of the squad completely. Then obviously explained by Thomas Tuchel before the game, yeah, it was all got too loud, blah, blah. You know, a bit of a PR answer, but a bit of also like, you know, this is not good type thing. And you know, the amount of Twitter spaces that were happening last night or the last few days, and today as well, especially Matisse as well, it was all kicking off. Do you know what I mean? But I'll stick with you, Con, just quickly before I go to the other boys. Do you see a way back for Lukaku? Do you think he's going to be in the squad for the next game? Or what do you think happens now?
There's definitely a way back for Lukaku. Like, he's a £100 million player. Like, you can't just get rid, you know? It's not like a Ross Barkley did it or an Alonso did it, where, like, you know, you could just take an L and say, you know what, we'll lose like 10 mil on you. But, like, Lukaku's a 100 mil asset. So there has to be a way back for him back into the squad. But his attitude, I thought after doing that interview and he realised, like, I shouldn't have said what I should have said, he'd have been a bit more remorseful. But the reports coming out is that he doesn't even feel bad for doing it. So I don't know where Tuchel and Lukaku go from here. I don't know where Lukaku goes from here. Like, so I know for a fact that if he plays and scores, I don't care. Like, I'll be happy Chelsea are winning, but I don't give a crap if Lukaku scores. I don't have that affiliation with him anymore. Just can't be asked.
Yeah.
So
I
don't know.
Take a while for that to ever come back, right?
Yeah, no, yeah, of course, bro, of course. Do you remember the Morata saga, bro? When he was talking about Madrid, he lost the fan base like that, and did he ever get it back? No, and every bad performance, bro, he got dragged, you know? So Lukaku just put more pressure on Chelsea and himself. Because if Lukaku doesn't perform in the game now, fans are going to be on him, you know? They're going to be on him like a rash, so it's not good. Whatever the road is, it's not going to be an easy one.
No, it definitely won't. Before I go to clutch with this, just quickly reacting to this, because I'm very confused by this comment. So what are you complaining about? Chalobah came off injured. So, and what, did you want to play Malang Sarr right-sided centre-back? So there was no other option in playing someone out of position because Christensen wasn't on the bench. So what else were you going to do? You had to move Aspi to right centre-back, and then it was either Callum or Pulisic were going to play wing-back. So, you know, I'm not sure what you're really talking about. But clutch, Lukaku was dropped completely. What happens now in your opinion? Do you see a way back like as soon as the next game? Or do you think, because obviously Lukaku, you know, couldn't keep his mouth shut again, decided to talk to his former teammate Tim Howard, who Lukaku, I'm pretty sure, is fully aware, works for US media. So, you know, of course it hit, you know, the news broadcasters immediately. And he was like, well, I can't talk much right now. It's all very hot. But there's another meeting Monday, so tomorrow. And then he can say more. Who knows what that meeting is going to be, and who knows who that meeting is going to include? Tuchel, Marina, Petr Cech. Is it going to include Bruce Buck? Who the hell knows, right? But what now?
Well, Tim Howard does work for the station that plays the Premier League games here. He works for them, so they do Premier League mornings, and he basically announced it like immediately as whatever Lukaku said it to him. So if Lukaku trusted him, I don't think he's going to trust him anymore. But I don't see how Chelsea, who spent $100 million on a player, are going to just drop this guy out of the blue. Like I said, I think it's a bigger problem than some people want to make it out to be, because it's like he's $100 million. Chelsea are not just going to be like, oh well, we'll just go get $50 million for him in the summer, and we just won't play him until then. That's just not how this club works. It's never how they've worked. I mean, I guess Kepa to some extent, but Kepa just wasn't performing. It's not the same with Lukaku. It's not that he's not performing. It's that he's opening his mouth, and whenever he happens to open his mouth, it just somehow becomes even worse. And I don't know how that's possible at this point. So for me, I don't know if he plays the next game, but do I see him still being involved in the season? Yes. Do I think Tuchel will have to play him? Yes. But do I think he's going to start him as much? Probably not. He'll probably come off the bench more. So I think he'll have to earn that respect from Tuchel, which who knows if that's even possible. But, I mean, at this point, I don't know what the other options are. I mean, hopefully we can get Havertz back into form, because I do think his best position was where he was at today, even though in the second half he drifted over more towards the left than it was in the middle. But we'll see. I I think this is going to end up being a longer story throughout the season than we want to make it out to be.
I agree. I'm not sure whether I see the whole he comes back in but then doesn't start, because I think if we let him back in, at that point things must be sorted enough for that to not be a problem. And I think from that point onwards, you need to play people on basis of quality. And as much as, we're all pissed off at him right now, then he kind of needs to play. What I'd be a big fan of is leave him out of Spurs again, play him against bloody Chesterfield, and then don't play him again for another week. That'd be funny. I just to piss him off. Do you know what I mean? And every time he doesn't play 3-5-2. And every time he does play the exact opposite of it, just to trigger him. Do you know what I mean? That's what I would really want. But VJ, obviously I haven't spoken to you either about the Lukaku situation. Obviously, don't keep it too long, because we need to get into the player ratings. Otherwise, we'll be set for 3 bloody hours. But how do you feel about it, and what do you think happens from here on onwards? And I do have a lot of things to say about the chat today. You lot are waffling, but go on, VJ.
All right. So I'll keep it very simple, right? The way that Lukaku, conducted this interview behind the club's back to Sky Italia, I'm completely pissed off on that. The content of that interview as well, a lot of things is something that Chelsea fans, we wouldn't like to hear. It definitely has impacted the sentiments of Chelsea fans, and I can resonate with that. So this is what I'll tell you with respect to how he can sort himself out, right? One thing is he has to win back the confidence of Tuchel. He has to win back the confidence of the players that he's playing alongside, and he has to win back the confidence of the fans. I'm not sure which order he is going to start, getting these confidence back on track, but he has to do it somehow for him to perform, for him to be at his, full potential physically as well as mentally. I'll tell you one thing though. He did not start this game. Maybe a couple of games from this he might not start. But I think there are certain repercussions financially as well that might happen, because obviously it seems to be a contractual breach that he's just performed here. And for that contractual breach there would be definitely some financial repercussions for him as well. And I think a combination of that and few match bans will probably is probably what I'd expect from Chelsea Football Club. I would not expect them to sell like a lot of our fan base are calling it to be. I don't think so. It makes any sense from a business perspective. Maybe there is a fine line between business and emotions, and we'll have to look at it from that side of things as well. So I think we are not going to sell him anytime sooner. But at the same time, the way that he can get back to the squad is by winning the confidence of all three, which I just informed.
Yeah, fair dues. I mean, the problem with selling him is also, who will buy him? Like, the people that can't afford him, they don't want him, and the people that will want him can't afford him. Like, anywhere near the same money that we paid for him. And as we know from Chelsea's history, we don't really like selling people for less than we bought them for. So quickly before we get into the player ratings, ladies and gentlemen, some of you in the chat are being weird. Like, a centre back came off. A centre back had to come off. And someone said in the chat, why Ziyech and not Jorginho? Because a centre back came off. There's a quite simple explanation here. And then we switched, obviously, the formation to a 3-5-2, which wasn't necessarily, like, you could say, oh, Tuchel doesn't want to win. No, but what other option did he bloody have? Because he had to move someone there. Like, if do you know what I mean? Like, I guess I see what you're saying. Like, I guess he could take, Chalobah off, bring Ziyech on, play, Aspi centre back, Pulisic right wing back, and play Ziyech in the front three. And I get that. But what I slightly disagree with is people saying that bringing Jorginho on ruined our attack and play. I mean, yes, we had less of a press. I think that also came with both Mount and Havertz got more and more and more tired. And just as a team, full stop, got more and more tired. That's why our press let up. Partly because of the formation change, but partly because, obviously, we got tired, like I just said. But also, yes, it maybe hindered us in winning the ball back as close to that goal as we did before that. But it gave us control back. And we all of a sudden nullified Liverpool. Well, I mean, Clutch said initially he thinks we deserve to win, but let's also not kid ourselves. Yeah, I mean, they were offside half the time, but Liverpool had a lot of good chances like this. The Mendy save for Salah, Mendy save for Mane, and Mane should do a lot better there. Like, let's not kid ourselves, right? And obviously the two saves by Mendy that were offside anyway, so they wouldn't have stood. But they had chances, and changing the shape meant we didn't always have to rely on luck that Liverpool missed their sitters, because that's what we were kind of relying on at the start of the second half to some extent, because that's what all it was. So I disagree with you, chat, but hey, that's that, nothing wrong with disagreeing with each other, I suppose. Let me just get this lineup up on screen so we can actually discuss that. But you know what? I'll go back to you, Con. What did you think about the lineup when it came out? Obviously, we knew Lukaku wasn't going to be in it, but other than that, was there anything that surprised you? Or was it with that then pretty much what you expected? I guess Callum Hudson-Odoi was also dropped, if you want to call it that.
I was surprised about Thiago Silva, actually.
Oh, no.
I didn't think he was going to start today, but thank God he did, because he was great. So, yeah, that's the only thing that really surprised me today, bro.
Fair dues. And Clutch, obviously, you always keep going on about that you want Pulisic to play a left wing. So we did today. I mean, we'll talk about his performance, but he did at least start a left wing. But did it surprise you as much as you hoped for it?
It actually did surprise me quite a lot. But I guess, what are your options? Because I figured Aspie would be playing right wing back for defensive stability. I pretty much would have guaranteed that if you would have asked me yesterday. But I also probably think that maybe Tuchel would have went with Callum just to kind of see if he could get his confidence back up. But going Pulisic, I think he didn't have the great. Well, we're not going to talk about that just yet. I think it's a performance to build off of, and I think this is where you start if you're him. Where as soon as he came, we'll just say. I mean, that's probably the biggest thing that surprised me. I also thought Jorginho was going to start. To be honest, I thought he would have started over Kovacic, but again, thankfully he didn't.
Again, thankfully he didn't. There you go. And Richard, what about you? Any big surprises for you in the lineup? Obviously, after we already knew that it wasn't going to be Lukaku.
Yeah, Lukaku we already knew, but I think this is probably the strongest 11 that we could have probably deployed today. And I think I was fine with it. There was no major surprises. I expected Cho to be dropped, and I expected Aspie to play on that flank as well. Pretty much a consistent one. Kovacic and Kante is something that I predict. We all predicted for Kovacic and Kante. But one thing that I was actually concerned is if these both players are moving up top, we need someone to sit back, defend, and help the back three. But I think that's where we kind of lost the initial a few minutes, but then we were able to recover quickly. But I think there was no surprises in terms of the lineup. This is pretty much what I would have expected as well.
Fair dues. I mean, obviously we spoke about it yesterday, Clutch, and I also thought Jorginho would start, but I was actually happy that he didn't because I think he really, really needed that one time of a rest. A lot of people in the chat, what you sent me on Twitter DMs, I will do so. Thank you, Con. I haven't actually received it yet. Are you sure you sent that to me? There it is. Thank you. Yes, the chat is talking about it, and Connor's just sent it to me. Romelu Lukaku's Facebook bio says Inter. But the one thing I don't know is whether it actually said Chelsea before. Like, you would assume so, but I didn't check before, so I'm not sure if he changed it or if he never changed it in the summer. Does anyone know that for sure, or... I presume not. Anyone in the chat?
I have no idea.
You know, obviously, it's crazy.
No idea.
Yeah, no, I have no clue either. I mean, let's see if the chat says anything. I will react to that later on. But Tuchel needs to stop playing players out of position. You keep talking about that. Who did we play out of position other than Pulisic once we had to? We didn't play anybody else out of position. I don't really understand what you're talking about. But his Insta still says Chelsea. Yeah, there you go. Why would he change his Facebook but not his Insta? And yeah, like Zigzag said, no one uses Facebook. Who uses Facebook? Do you know what I mean? But ladies and gentlemen, before we start the player ratings, which we will do in just literally a second's time, we have 350 people watching, which I massively appreciate. But if you're new here, be sure to subscribe. If you haven't already, we're on the road to 15,000 subscribers. So hit that big red subscribe button down below. Really helps me out and means a lot. And of course, smash the like button as well. It doesn't cost you any money and it barely costs you any time. Not this match, you duffer. Duffer is an interesting insult, mate, but I appreciate it. In general. So why are you talking about it today? Because we're here to talk about today. But anyway, let's move on. Let's start with Mendy in goal, shall we? Who shall I give the first one? I'll give it to you, Clutch. What do you reckon? Obviously, he made two wonderful saves, which didn't mean anything because they were offside. But, you know.
I think he was pretty good. The only thing I would give Mendy again today would be his ability to play out the back. There was quite a lot of dodgy passes that he made that just seemed to either go out of bounds or go back right to Liverpool. I mean, I think Mendy, when he had to make the saves, that save on Salah was really good. I hate to say it, but if Kepa's in there, Kepa does not save that because he's not even close to being tall enough to get to that ball because Mendy barely got his fingertips onto it. I think Mendy was probably an 8 or an 8.5 today. I think he was really good.
I would probably agree somewhere along those lines. I'm not 100% sure what I'll go with. So I'll go with you, VJ. What do you reckon out of 10 for Mendy?
I think he gets an 8 for me. First thing is he has obviously improved from the previous game that he's performed. There's a bit of confidence in the way that he's coming out to clear the ball, which we did not see in the last few games, and his distribution still has to improve. So that's something that is stopping me from giving anything more. But in terms of his saves, 2 amazing saves that kept us in the game. So I'm going to go with an 8 for Mendy. 26 minutes, there was a poor distribution again from Mendy. I just made a note of a few things that happened in the game. So one thing that I had noted down is very poor distribution on the 26 minute. Luckily did not result anything bad. So yeah, those are certain moments that he has to still improve on.
Yeah, he certainly has that. He's still, to me, it feels like since the West Ham game, he's been struggling a little bit with confidence. And as games go on, he kind of gains his own confidence. But then the next game we started again, and he kind of struggles with it a little bit until he gains it. And then it's fine. Once he makes some good saves, when he has a few good moments, and then it's fine. A bit like Pulisic today. We'll talk about that obviously later. But yeah, I'd probably go along with the 8, to be perfectly honest with you, Con. Would you go 8? Would you like to go higher than that? Because 2 of the saves were spectacular, especially the one from Mane, obviously. The one from Salah, obviously.
I'll probably go with an 8, to be honest. Yeah, I think that's fair. I think he had a good game ended today. Even if he did make some great saves when there was offside. I think that Jota one was a great save because I don't think he was actually offside. I think when they showed the replay, I thought he was just on. So if that went in, it would have gone to VAR, And with Chelsea and VAR against Liverpool, you got our best friend refereeing the match, So Mendy did his job today. I know we conceded 2, but not really his fault. So give him an 8.
No, definitely not. Definitely not his fault. I mean, I guess if I've watched the first one back, could he do maybe a teeny tiny bit better with coming out for Mane? Maybe, but definitely nothing to criticize him about. I'm not quite sure. Maybe when we talk about Aspie, we need to talk about VAR or lack thereof about Sadio Mane, who scored and was a menace all night and, should have been sent off after a minute. So, we'll get to that in a minute. But, let's stick to the 8 for Edouard Mendy. And let's go to a bit of a more negative one next. Trevor Chalobah. He had a bit of a stinker, that. I mean, he had 2 fantastic tackles, absolutely outrageously fantastic, but he also had 2 absolute howlers. I mean, very early in the game, gifted them a chance when while I was watching the game, all of a sudden froze, so I didn't actually see Mendy save from Rüdiger's nearly own goal. I didn't actually still see it because too many things happened in the rest of the first half that they showed it at halftime, so I haven't seen it, but I know it happened. And then obviously the actual goal for Mane is also Chalobah's fault. I mean, the ball's like barely half a meter off the ground and he tries to head it. I was so confused as to what he was doing, but it's a bit of a stinker. And then obviously he had to come off, which wasn't ideal because we had to change the shape. Okay, the chat is telling me we didn't have to, but Tuchel felt we had to. So not great, but again, 2 challenges that arguably did stop goals. So it's a tough one. I'll go first this time, and because the stinkers were bad, man. Like, the mistakes were bad. Do you reckon 4 is too low because of the 2 other tackles that he made? Because it wasn't great. And to be honest, like, even outside of the 2 specific mistakes, him and Aspie, especially in the first half, they just could not get a hold of Salah to save their lives. And even at the start of the second half, yes, it was always offside, so you could argue they played it well, but it was purely luck that it was just about offside, and like they essentially got done every time with simple 1-2s, and it was not ideal. So I'm genuinely going to go 4, as much as people might find that harsh, but I genuinely thought it really wasn't brilliant. Con, what you reckon? Is 4 a bit too harsh, or would you go with that as well?
I can see why you say it. Would I go as low as a 4? I'll probably go with a 5. So that's a bit more kinder. I'm trying to think what we gave Jorginho for United. It's very similar. They had good games, but they made one horrific mistake. Remember. I think it was a 5, wasn't it? Yeah,
it might have been, but I'm not sure if I personally agree that Chalobah was good other than a mistake. But fair dues. Like,
I just think it's one of those games. It was so hectic at times. The intensity was mad. But yeah, I give him a 5 today.
Fair do. So we sit on a 4.5 for now. I'll go with you next, Clutch. How do you see it?
Well, he looked like Phil Jones when he tried to head that ball off the ground like that. That's an automatic like -12. No, I'd probably go with, because I do think like Han. I do think he was in the second half for the time he was on. I think he was pretty good, and he did have those 2 good tackles. So I'd probably tend to agree with more of the 5.
Fair dues. Let's see what BJ says, so we see where we end up with. What do you reckon? 5, 4, 4.5? I mean, if you go 4.5, I'm struggling with what to go with. But, up to you, bro.
I'm going to go with the 5. To be honest with you, he had a nervous start, nothing to take away from that. Like, no one hits a ball when you're a 6.2 feet defender. No one hits a ball, which is when it's like 3 feet. I don't understand what he was basically trying to do there. But again, the kind of attack that he came against, one of the best attacking teams in the world, and he had to perform against them as young as him. I think he did I wouldn't say a pretty good job, but maybe 4 is a bit of harsh, a score for him, because he was progressively improving, is how I'd put it, in the game. Once he started getting the hang of the game, the pace of the game, he was starting to improve, is what I would put it. That is why he gets a 5 for me.
Fair dues. So we sit on the 5 overall. I'll give you it, even though it's probably a 4.75, but we don't do 7.5s, do we? Thiago Silva. I mean, the guy was most busy shouting at the players in front of him to stop giving the ball away. In particular, one occasion with Pulisic, not when we conceded, but when Callum had to play us out, I think it was. But because we didn't have Jorginho today, until Jorginho came on, Thiago Silva basically took the role of playmaker, essentially, because Kovacic and Kante didn't really do so much of that because they were obviously tad higher and aggressive, and obviously, like Con touched on, or was it Clutch? Just the intensity of the game was just crazy, and then obviously allows the centre back to have a bit more space and time. But a lot of his passes today, when it was out to the right, out to the left, through the middle, like one over the top to Alonso that Alonso just about couldn't control. Wonderful. I mean, yeah, we did still concede a lot of chances. Once Mane skipped past him a little bit too easily, but in general, I thought a fantastic performance, quite frankly. Would I quite go as high as Mendy? Probably not, just because I think as a team and as a defense, we conceded a few too many chances. But how many of those were really Thiago's fault? Maybe none. So maybe I do disagree with myself, and I might go with the 8. Maybe 7.5. One of the 2. Vijay, I'll go with you first this time. What do you reckon? Is 8 a little bit high? Or what? How did you see Thiago's performance today?
I'd say a 7.5. If you consider defense in general, and you've conceded 2 goals, a lot of it gets attributed to the leader of the pack, which is Thiago Silva in this case. And I think there are certain moments where Thiago Silva, I mean, don't get me wrong, he is very good progressively going forward. He's able to distribute the ball and all that. But when it comes to rebound from the free kick or any of the chances that we take, like corner set pieces, basically, I think Thiago Silva has to do a better job in recovering back. That's something that kind of is impacting me, because I'm kind of nervous whenever there is a counter, because he's a bit slower in transitioning back. We had a situation where basically the last man was Pulisic. You don't have situations. You shouldn't be in a position where Pulisic is your last man. Come on, you have
that was
to be
after
in that
corner, though. Obviously, Thiago Silva is in the box for the corner.
See. Yeah, I get that. I get that. So that is where I'm telling you. So there are certain areas. Okay, fine. Corners, I get it. But for free kicks as well, sometimes he gets in and joins the attack whereas the defense is not something which is stable, because you're already playing with the back 3. And during those situations, if it was Kante the last man, I'd probably be happy with it. But when your attack is Liverpool and they're so fast on your counter, I expect someone like Thiago Silva to hold back. Not, for these bigger games at least.
I mean, I do see a little bit maybe what you're saying, but at the same time, Thiago scored 2 or 3 goals already this season from headers, so he is a genuine threat from set piece, whether it's a corner or a free kick. And I mean, at least it wasn't Jorginho back, because like against United, because he doesn't have pace. Because in that occasion, what you were talking about, it was Pulisic and Kante. I mean, yeah, Pulisic kind of messed it up a little bit, but thankfully Mendy bailed him out, because that was when he pulled off that great save from Salah. But fair dues, you went 7.5, I went 8, so let's see where we end up with in the end. Clutch, what do you reckon? 7.5, 8, which side do you sit on? Or would you go something different, of course?
I want to give him an 8, because I think he was one of the bigger parts of like our pushback. I think he is one of the genuine leaders in this team, even over Aspie most of the time. I think when heads were down, he was the one getting in there. You can even see him screaming at Pulisic when he beat the front line's press and then gave the ball to Pulisic, and Pulisic just kind of fumbled it away. And that's when they were on the attack again, which that seemed to happen quite a lot, where that would happen. We'd lose the ball somewhere in midfield, and then Trent would just pass a ball to Salah, who's out sprinting Alonso pretty much the entire game. I think Thiago Silva was one of the bigger reasons why we didn't lose today. I mean, he held composure. He did everything that he's supposed to do. I mean, his long passing today was outrageous. There was quite a few passes he put down the line that we ended up getting chances from. I think there were some that were kind of messed up by other players. Poor first touches. I think if Alonso, I think there was one point he had a pass over the top to Alonso that Alonso, I don't know if it was too far or Alonso just had a poor touch, but that was a really good chance that he could have had from a great run too.
Too far probably, but yeah.
Yeah, I think Thiago Silva is one of our best players at playing out from the back in that kind of situation. So I'd like to give him the 8.
Fair dues. And Con, what about you? 8 or 7.5? Which side do you sit on? Or, like I said, of course, I'm completely different.
I'm going to go with clutch this one. I'm going with 8. I think Thiago Silva was really good today. I think he oozed class. I think he looked better than Van Dijk today as well, to be honest. I didn't really understand the point, bro. So I don't mean to be rude about the point you said that he should hold back from set pieces. Like, Liverpool are a very tall team. They're really good at set pieces. Like, you need the best headers in the box, you know. And we did leave Kante and Pulisic back, so I don't think that's Thiago Silva's fault at all for them sort of situations. And that's by coach as well. No team leaves the centre-backs outside the box for set piece, ever. When have you ever seen that? You don't, do
And
you?
if anything, that's not his decision. That's the set-piece coach decision.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, him on the ball today in such a hectic game, and he just still looks so composed. I don't know how he does it, bro. I genuinely don't know how he does it. This guy, when he was 5, he could lie to his mum all the time. I don't have that composure, bro. This guy's ice in the veins. We say about Georgie, bro, depends. But Thiago Silva is the definition of ice in the veins, bro. Any occasion, any game, composed as hell, man.
It's true. It is definitely true. Let's get to Antonio Rüdiger, who had an interesting game because his aggressive defending that essentially led to Pulisic's equalizer was outstandingly brilliant. What he did for that Salah goal is what are you doing? Obviously, Havertz lost the ball in the build-up. We'll get to that. Then Pulisic could have easily just slid in and stopped the pass, but he chose not to slide in. But then Rüdiger followed, pushed up to press Salah, quite literally. And then Salah ran past him, and Rüdiger had no body in the world to run after it. And then all of a sudden, you leave Alonso one-on-one defending Salah. And yes, people will have a go at Alonso. And I'm because obviously Salah sells him the dummy. And I'm well, but how is that Alonso's fault? Because if Alonso does, how is he meant to know it's a dummy? There's physically no way of knowing, because if Alonso does react to the dummy, maybe Salah doesn't make it a dummy and goes inside in the first place. And then everyone sat here saying, oh, why did he let him run past him? Well, it's bloody Alonso. I'm not saying, no one in the world can defend it, but it's Alonso. If you're expecting Alonso to stop Salah there, then you're silly. But Rüdiger could quite comfortably have just ran back, and then it would have been 2-on-1 for Salah and not just Salah v Alonso. And actually, I forgot about that. I also do think Mendy speculated a bit much for the far corner effort there, because I only think Salah went for the near post because Mendy went so early for the far post, personally. But maybe I'm a bit wrong with that. But I do think Rüdiger played a large part in us conceding that goal. Obviously, nothing to do with the other goal, but with that one. But he did kind of play his part and also us getting a goal back. So with that said, give him a 7. Give him a 7. I think it was overall a very good performance from him. He just had that one moment where it wasn't great. But obviously, he also had that one moment where it was really great and got us a goal. So let's start the other direction. So, Con, do you think 7 is fair on all the basis that he had a bit of a mistake and a great moment in the other direction?
Bro, I don't have anything else to say. I think you summed up perfectly. I was thinking 7. You said what basically I was going to say. He was a liability for the first that goal against Salah, but he also helped us get a goal when he won the ball. So, he made up for it in a way. So, yeah, I agree with 7.
Fair dues. Clutch, I'll go with you. 7, is that fair for you as well?
Yeah, I think 7's fair. I think I do think it's kind of there was no communication there between Rüdiger and Alonso because I know Henderson was sitting outside, so I think that's where Rüdiger was waiting for him. But in reality, Alonso should have sat with Henderson and Rüdiger should have tracked the run. But other than that, I think Rüdiger would actively call Alonso off Salah for at least one-on-one battles, and every time I think Rüdiger won it. So I think he did really well, especially in that second half against Salah. I think Rüdiger was one of the key factors of keeping him down. They had to rely on transitions, which is pretty much all they had was transitions today. So I'd give him a 7. I think that's fair. But he is at fault for that second goal. Well, he is partly at fault. Multiple people, I think.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the problem is that he followed Salah to defend offensively or defend aggressively. So then obviously if you follow him out, then you need to follow him back. You can't just then stay there. Especially like if he plays with Chile, slightly different situation. Chile has more pace, slightly better much better one-on-one defender, maybe then. But he knows he's playing with Alonso. And like this was in the first half. It's not like we're 95th minute where I'm like, fair enough, maybe he's too tired to make that sprint now. But this was early in the game. So like I need you to make that sprint in that situation. But VJ, would you go along with the 7 or would you like to go with something different?
Yeah, I'd go with the 7. I mean, I think that particular goal, I'd say it's more of a combinational fault between Alonso and Rüdiger, probably not proper communication there. And also, partly you could still argue Mendy could have done a better job at that and covering the near post. But I also would like to say something with respect to Rüdiger. He was still making sure, except for that one goal from Salah, he was still ensuring that he was holding back Salah the entire game. I mean, one of the quickest player to play on that right flank, if he's able to do that job to perfection, close to perfection, then I'm good with it. So a 7 is a good score for Rüdiger.
Fair dues, fair dues. I mean, Alonso's going to be an interesting one. I'll go with Aspin after that. Like, a lot of people I've already seen it slandering Alonso left, right, and centre. I actually think Alonso was half decent today. No, I think Alonso was decent today. Yes, a better defender does a bit better against Salah. But I'm not stupid. I understand Marcos Alonso's limitations. I cannot expect Marcos Alonso to defend Mo Salah in the box. Like, how can I possibly expect that? I can't even expect it outside the box. But outside the box, at least if you need to make a foul. But in the box, you can't even do that. So what's he going to do? So that's why I don't really put much, if at all, blame on Alonso for the goal. I mean, his stats in the first half that I saw them somewhere on Twitter. So they were decent. I'm not sure what they were overall in the second half as well. Were there moments they should have done better? The one time where he hit the volley and he just really bad volley, could he have crossed it or shot better? Sure. But compared to how bad he is often, I don't think he was that bad today. I don't think he ruined that many things today. I don't think he hindered many players around him today, which he sometimes does. So I would give him a 6. I honestly do. I think a 6 is a fair result, fair rating. I mean, obviously, you boys can go with something different if you fancy it. But that's what I go with. Clutch, what do you reckon?
I don't think he was particularly great, but I don't think he was particularly bad. It's not the typical bad Alonso that we normally see. I mean, he still lost the ball 20 times. His crossing was terrible. I think he had like 9 crosses and only 1 actually connected with anything. Fortunately, that was the best chance we had in probably the second half with the Pulisic half volley where it hit off his shin and Keller made a great save.
Yeah, that would have been his assist, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think that's the only cross he actually completed. And I think he had a couple passes, like the one where Pulisic got outran by Konate, where I think that was still a little bit of a long pass, but I do think Pulisic probably should have got there. I think that pass was a little dodgy, but I'd probably go with the 5.5 because I don't think he was as bad as people want to make him out to be. But I still, whenever you get up to that 20 mark in possessions lost, I cannot give you much higher than a 5, but I'll give him a 5.5 because he created the best chance of the second half.
He did, yes, he did. VJ, I go with you next. What do you think? Obviously, you just said you think the goal is a combination of Rüdiger and Alonso. again, Havertz gave the ball away very unnecessarily in the build-up, and Pulisic could have so easily intercepted it. So I think if you include Alonso, fair enough, but you have to include all 4, maybe 5.
Could we say the left
How
flank
often do you concede a goal where potentially 5 people could be partly to blame? That doesn't happen often. But sorry, go on. What's your rating for Alonso?
Yeah, I think like how you said, probably we can attribute that to the left flank being a default. Having said that, for Marcus Alonso, I also think he was actually pretty good in this game. First of all, his set pieces was not was not actually bad. I mean, his set pieces were actually decent today coming in. It was not all of the time. It was not just finding the near post or the far post. It was properly delivered. I think he did contribute towards the attack as well a lot more times than I anticipated in this game, because we well know that we have Trent Alexander-Arnold and this guy Salah as well playing on that flank. So it would be natural if Alonso is defending there, or he's expected to defend there, but he was contributing to the attack better as well. So I think a 6 is a fair score today.
Fair news. And then with UConn, obviously none of us are big fans of Alonso. It's not quite Pice today. I don't think you're quite as harsh usually as Pice is, but would you also go with the 6? I mean, the chat is telling me to go at least 6.5. I think I'll stick with my 6, because the 6.5 is personally a bit too close to Rüdiger to make that still fair. But honestly, I think the 6 is fair. What do you reckon, Con?
I think the 6 is fair as well. I think going into this game, we all thought Alonso would be a lot worse than we actually saw him today, I think he was all right at parts, just getting caught out with that ball from Salah and behind him. But then again, it's Alonso, and he'd stand with the pace, let's be honest. If he was sitting back, I don't think we can see that goal, but we weren't playing like that today. And yeah, no, I thought I can't believe Trent got done by him. He cut in on Trent so bad, and Trent's...
He nutmegged Fabinho too.
Done all game long, man.
Bro, Trent can't defend for shit, man. So, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to swear, but he can't, bro. This guy's a false image. This guy's great offensively. He's a bum defensively. I don't care what
great offensively today, to be honest. But
yeah, bro. My man froze for 45 minutes in that second half. But I think 6 is fair for Alonso today, bro.
There you go. Hey, Alonso took Trent out of the game. When he's coming home, he's taking Trent out of his whole bloody pocket. You know what, Con? I'll stick with you, because I've gone with you last a couple of times, and when I haven't, I've gone first myself and said a lot of things. So I'll let you say your thing about Aspie, because I'm very intrigued what other people genuinely feel about Aspie. Obviously, on today's performance, not in general.
I thought it was good today. I'm not gonna lie. I thought it was good. Gave him 6.5. I don't think his overall play was better than Alonso's, but he didn't, I don't know, he wasn't the reason for a goal, like Alonso was. So I see clutch with his lost possession stats, but that's not something I think that stat's really glorified in terms of, I don't think it means as much as people take out of it, You have to watch the game and see what kind of game it is. So everybody lost possession today. It was a crazy ass game. It really was. Did you see at one point, bro? It went from Thiago Silva to Van Dijk to Rüdiger to Kanai. I was like, what the hell's going on, man? It's just a crazy game. But
it really was.
I gave him 6.5. I think it was solid today. He really ran these socks off. And I'm surprised he made it through the full game, to be honest. I really did. But yeah big up to Aspie, man.
That I will say, I agree with that. He was definitely working his socks off. I mean, what you said there, it was just back and forth every bloody time, the whole bloody game long. It's crazy. But no, you know what? I'll hold my own rating for a little bit longer. I'll go last. Beach, I'll go with you next. 6.5 from Con. Would you go along with that? Would you like to go with something different? What do you reckon?
I'd stick with 6.5 as well. I mean, I think the first 20 minutes from Azpilicueta was really good. I mean, he continued to work that way for the entire game, which I was even surprised at because I was expecting a substitution for Azpilicueta, if I'm to be honest, because I was not sure if he would be able to handle the entire 90 minutes with that sort of a pace. But he did really good in terms of holding and in terms of going forward as well. See, this is what you can expect from Azpilicueta at the end of the day. He's not going to be as potent as a Reece James going forward. And whatever I expected from Azpilicueta, I think he delivered. So I'm going to go with a 6.5 because, like Khan said, he was not as such responsible for anything, in the game, neither conceding nor, scoring chances. So in general, it was a good game for him. And for his hard work, he gets a 6.5.
Fair enough. Clutch. Obviously, you just put in the private chat here that Aspie lost possession 20 times. And how often was it for Alonso? 24 times, sorry.
20.
There you go. I mean, like Con said, I think the whole possession stat, you can only, like, I'm surprised that they even show it as a stat. To me, it has to be a percentage, because if I touch the ball 5 times in a game, I'm obviously less likely to give the ball away 20 times, am I? But if I touch the ball 80 times, just as a random number, yeah, I'm still giving it away a fourth of the time. But giving it away 20 times if I've touched it 40 times is much worse than if I touched it 80 times. So that's why I'm like...
Exactly, though. It's a very misleading stat without context.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
We also got to put like the touches, because they have touches on here too. So I kind of take everything into factor. So my thing is, the reason why I'm going to weight it heavier on Alonso is because Alonso, it would be 1/4 for Alonso and it'd be 1/5 for Aspie. Aspie had the most touches on our team. Now, what I think Aspie did right today is his one-on-one defending was not shaky, like we've been seeing over the last couple of weeks. Normally, before the last couple of weeks, I'd be very scared to know that Aspie might have to take on Mane on a one-on-one by himself and have to defend it well. Not today, he actually did it multiple times and covered himself very well. So, I mean, I don't think a 6.5 is too bad. I'd probably go with the 6. I think overall, I'm going to go with the 7, because I think his defensive work, and especially he kind of proved me wrong today. He showed me that he still has something left in the tank, because yesterday I was sitting here saying that I think we should sell or let him go because his legs are running, and he kind of showed me up a little bit today, so I'll give him the 7 instead.
Yeah, I kind of want to give him a 7 as well now that I think about it.
Okay. BJ, would you also like to give him a 7, or would you like to stick to your 6.5?
Nah, I still stick with my 6.5 because Rüdiger gets a 7, so Aspie gets a 6.5 for me.
Yeah. See, and not because I didn't think he was good. I did actually think he was good, but I was probably going to go 6 because there was part in the game. But you've convinced me. I'll at least go 6.5. So I'll let you have the 7. Do you know what I mean? But for me, I completely agree with what VJ said. First 20, maybe 15, 20 minutes, we were all just brilliant. Especially the first 10. But, until we conceded the first one, whatever minute that was. Maybe it was even less than 15. But regardless. But then the first half, then it went on before we had our great spell. And then at the start of the second half, him and Chalobah were just struggling. He was trying to get after Mane or Tsimikas, and he just didn't win the ball often enough. And then he was trying to get back. And he was doing well at trying. But you could see on the other side, Rüdiger had a way higher success rate in winning those. Also then Chalobah, which is why I wanted to give Chalobah a 4. But also, Aspie on the right was trying to help Chalobah, and it didn't really help that much. But the longer the game went on, the guy just did not stop. And, especially when he nicked that one ball from Mane, as Mane tried to cut it back, even though it was offside anyway, as usual. But, fair play. Honestly, fair play, like Church said. And the reason why I'll give you the 7 is because he literally got elbowed in the flipping front of the head less than a minute into the bloody game, and VAR apparently was not active yet, because how on earth that is not a red card? I mean, fair enough. The ref, as much as Anthony Taylor is a prick and was bad today again, hey, I can't expect every ref to see always how bad was the intent in the elbow. Hey, do you know what I mean? That's the point of why we brought VAR in. But apparently, VAR, in particular in England, just doesn't work because there's no capable referees in this country. I say no capable. Too little capable. Go on.
I think it's a fair game for Anthony Taylor today. I mean, he was not at least the talking point of the game. That itself is a victory from an Anthony Taylor perspective.
Oh, I do think there was a few dodgy decisions. Nothing game decisive today, but still, especially how Pulisic ever got booked is beyond me. I mean, he cleared the ball and then tucked his feet in to make sure he doesn't injure the guy. And he gets put. It's not even a foul, bro. And then for the Havertz thing on Kelleher, when Kelleher came out of the Liverpool goal, he didn't even touch him. He just fell over. Just because he's a goalkeeper doesn't mean he just gets free kicks. I'm like, what are you doing? But anyway, still think Mane should have been sent off. No idea why Tierney, the VAR referee, was taken off VAR duty shortly before the game. Sounds dodgy, but there might be a logical reason which I'm unaware of. But I presume we all agree that it should have been a red card, right, Con?
Oh yeah, 100%. And I'm sick to death of Mane getting away with this because he always throws his elbows out like this.
He's a dirty twat. He was a dirty twat when he played in Austria already. I'm telling you, he was always a dirty twat. Really was. He's like Neymar, you know, when they dive and every time they get touched, they scream for half an hour and then they start scratching people and biting people and pinching people and elbowing. Do you know what I mean? Just dirty. But Clutch, sorry. You as well think it's a red card?
Yeah, I mean, if like literally right after you already seen Aspie had like a dark circle under his eye where he got hit. I think it looked malicious to me, but I mean, was Anthony Taylor ever going to give us a call like that? No. So, I mean, I think it's a red.
Yeah, no, it was. I mean, Vijay, you said Anthony Taylor wasn't the big issue today. So did you think it wasn't a red, or did you think that was just more on VAR than him?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, that was definitely a red for me as well. But I wouldn't attribute that particular fault to Anthony Taylor.
Yeah, no, same.
Yeah.
Fair dues. I mean, someone in the chat said Mane wasn't looking at him, so that's why it's not a red. Now, if that's what the decisive factor is, then there's basically no red cards in football, because just teach them, just look away, and then you never get sent off. So that's completely irrelevant. Don't get your elbow up that way. Just don't do it. Especially like if you jump up straight, fine, do your elbow thing. But not if you're sprinting in a direction and then jumping into a man. Like whether he thinks Aspie jumps with him or stays down, you can't run and jump elbow first. Like that's bloody UFC type shit. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can't be doing that. But let's get to the midfield, actually. What is it said here? Chelsea manager Tuchel confirms he'll meet with Lukaku. He's our player, and there is always a way back. We will clear this behind closed doors. Once we made a decision, once Romelu knows, you will maybe know when he'll be back, he told Sky Sports. Well, let's see. I'm intrigued, but after this meeting tomorrow, we'll hear something from Lukaku online. That's what I'm interested in. I will say this. Where was it now? Where is it now? But Havertz did that to Konate as well. He kind of did. I don't even fully disagree with you. Small difference. Havertz went like his arm up, and Salah, Mane went elbow first. Big difference when you're attacking a player. He hit him with his underarm, and Mane hit him with the elbow. That's the difference for me. But I certainly see what you're saying.
And the contact also. Havertz's touch was not that heavy, first of all. Aspie's touch was like way heavy. That's where the difference is where lies.
Again, because he had so much of a run-up. I mean, yes, Havertz had a run-up, but he wasn't running as fast. Let's go to our midfield duo today. Midfield duo. Wow. Especially the longer... I mean, the first 10, 15, again, as with Aspie, amazing. Then I thought we lost a little bit of control. And I mean, the way Liverpool played, they kind of just skipped past our midfield. But the problem is we also skipped past the midfield. Like I swear, every time Alonso and Aspie got the ball, they just sent it. To Pulisic, Mount, Havertz just sent the ball. And Silva was obviously spraying passes left, right, and centre anyway. So we kind of skipped past them a little bit too much for my preference, which is why we didn't have as much control as I would like. And then once we gave them the ball, you know, the longer the first half went on, half an hour again, 35 minutes maybe. And then the second half, they were just brilliant. Let's go with Kovacic first. Let's go Kovacic first. What a goal. What a goal. Like, I was sat there on my sofa, like, already basically crying, being depressed, because I thought 2-0 down. Lukaku's all kicking off. Do you know what I mean? Like, who knows what's going to happen here? We have no wing backs. This is all shit. We still haven't signed a wing back. Obviously, it's 2nd of January. I'm not going to be harsh yet, but do you know what I mean? But what a goal, man. What a goal. Oh, my days. I was screaming. Oh, fair play, Matteo. Fair play, Matteo Kovacic. He's already scored double the amount of goals this season in the Premier League than he has in his entire Premier League career before this season. I mean, it's 2, and before they had 1, so, you know. But still, at least 2 is better than 1. So, what a goal. What a performance. I mean, both of them, but Kovacic. The only thing, I think he should have sat a little next to Kante sometimes a bit more in the first half rather than pushing, because Kante had to do a lot by himself. But especially, I thought he personally realised that. I don't think it was instruction. I think he realised he needed to do that. He did it. And it was fantastic. And he was fantastic. And the work rate, some of the tackles he pulled off as well. Not that many dribbles today that I saw that I could remember. I mean, someone said 100% success rate in the first half. I'm like, yeah, but how many did he do? Like 2? So I'm not going to go 100% dribble success rate if you barely tried it, which I thought he didn't. But just in general, wow, like honestly, absolutely fantastic, absolutely brilliant. I don't know what I'll go with. With the goal, I got 9, you know. I got 9. I think with the goal, I think because we drew, I think a 10's always a bit slightly overdoing it, especially because our midfield got skipped a little bit too easily, too many times on average to go for a 10 for me. But I think with that scream and with that performance, I think a 9 is certainly justified. Clutch, would you agree?
I'm going to go with the 10. I think he was absolutely outstanding. There were so many different moments in that game where he got ran up on by 3 different Liverpool midfielders and he just dribbled right away from him and kept possession. There was one time I know he got it to Georgie, and then we continued in attack, and I think that's what led to the Pulisic little dink cross that he made that I think just kind of barely skipped over Callum's head. It was like he had I think Pulisic only had 2 crosses, and one of them was like a little tap dink over the top, and I think Callum got held back.
I thought you meant Kova's cross. I'm like, when did Kova cross?
No, I don't think he crossed at all. But yeah, I'd probably give him a 10. I think he was the man of the match today. I think his goal single-handedly put the confidence back into us to get back into that game. And it was a worldie of a goal, first of all. Anybody who said Kovacic can't shoot, go look at that. And the problem with that entire goal is I don't know why they even went to VAR, because I don't care. The goalie needed to be standing literally right there to even stop that ball. So there was no chance he was stopping it, whether Rüdiger was there or not.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. Who was it that tweeted that? Some journalist tweeted that this might have been the first VAR riot if that goal had been taken off. So, that would have been mental. But fair news. You went 10. Fair. I mean, like I said, not much of a criticism. One bit. Con, 10, 9, 9.5?
I'm going with 10, bro. Of course, I'm going with a 10 today. I think it's absolutely fantastic. We witnessed one of the greatest midfield performances we've seen this season in the Premier League. Absolute ballastic from Kovacic today. He was doing everything. He was defending well. He was attacking well. He was taking people on. He left Fabinho for dead in that second half as well. Did you see that when he turned him? Fabinho fell over. I was laughing my head off. I was like, yeah, Fabinho, sit down. Bald motherfucker. Bro, Kovacic today was just different gravy. He looked a class above everybody on that pitch today. And that pitch, you had players like Mane, Salah, Van Dijk, Thiago Silva, etc. Even Kante, and Kovacic just looked a class above everyone. What a player. 10 for me.
Fair dues. Fair dues. And VJ, would you go with the 10 as well, or would you sit slightly below it?
I definitely go for a 10. I mean, first thing first, Kovacic with that goal. Generally for a volley, people go on the offensive. He actually backpedaled and went on a defensive to strike that. I mean, it did have a dip there towards the finish, but what a finish from Kovacic there. I mean, the way that he dribbled the entire game as well, for me, is like he is a Croatian Messi for me. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing the name, the country name correctly or not, but Croatian Messi is what I'd say. The way that he put up the performance today. All right. That's the sort of performance he put in for me today on the pitch. Again, calling someone a Messi based on one performance, I know it's too premature, but I'm just saying today he looked like one. Absolutely brilliant to run that Liverpool defense like that. Liverpool midfield like that, to dominate that Liverpool midfield like that. He deserves a 10.
Fair dues, boys. I'll give it to you. N'Golo Kante. Well, I gave Kovacic a 9, so I would have given Kante an 8.5, maybe an 8. Because I think, I rectify my own cover rating to a 9.5, and I would have given a Kante an 8.5. But now that we gave Kova a 10, I'm going to give Kante a 9. Yeah. It's basically, I think they were both fantastic. Kovacic just scored an absolute screamer of a wonder goal and basically got us back into the game. Because if no one scores that goal, as much as they were brilliant, the problem for us is still scoring goals. So we needed someone to get that over the line, and boy, he did today. So Kante, Kante. I mean, that dribble and that one ball over to the left to Alonso, which and then he obviously cut back to his right and unfortunately skied it a little bit, which I didn't even hate, to be honest, because the cross wasn't on really to anybody, I thought. Like it wasn't realistic that he was going to find anyone with that cross. So I didn't even hate it that he tried. Unfortunately, that obviously it, slightly rolled over his, top of his boot, I guess. But that ball was so good. Like he baited Trent so hard that he was going to go like in front of Trent, and all of a sudden he went between Trent and Konate, and I was just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Loved that, and the dummy as well, a bit like Salah obviously sold Alonso for the goal. Beautiful, absolutely fantastic, and they both managed to play 90 minutes. Probably very unhealthy, but big ups to the both of them. Vijay, I'll go first with you this time. Would you go along with the 9? Would you go slightly higher, or tell me?
You know what? It's kind of a dilemma between 9 and 9.5. But I'd probably go with a 9 here. The reason why I say that is because, though he's done everything perfectly, maybe the goal is something, or, an assist, not so much. So I think he still initiated that particular, Pulisic goal. Maybe not the direct assist.
Pulisic goal, I forgot.
Yeah. So he gets a 9 for me. Whenever he comes into the pitch, oh my God, like we get to see Kante only for a very less time this season. But had he played the most of the games for Chelsea this season, I'm telling you, we will be in the top of the league right now also. So he gets a 9 for me.
Fair dues. Now I'm thinking because of the assist, maybe 9.5. Nah, because I can't do it because I didn't even give Coma a 9.5, even though I raised to 9.5 in the end, but I don't think they should be the same. So I'll stick with the 9 for Kante, but I'll see what the other two boys say as well. Who wants to go next? Con, do you want to go next?
Sure, bro.
There you go. So 9, or would you like that 9.5?
I'm liking the sound of this 9.5, I thought it's very enticing, It's I think the reason why we could have played today, and how because let's be honest, we dominated Liverpool today in terms of possession. We dominated them. I think we had a few more chances. We can't play that way against Liverpool if it ain't for these two. As much, I love Jorginho, Lawrence. You know how I love him, but if you have a Jorginho on your side here, Loftus-Cheek, anyone like that, you can't have this type of performance against Liverpool. And these two were so important today. And Kovacic is a 10 because he dropped to Pulisic, but Kante also dropped to Pulisic, Absolutely fantastic performance from the goal. He gets the assist as well. And, 9.5, yeah. They showed, I told everyone, our midfield's the best. We're fully fit, we've got the best midfield. Everyone's saying, oh, we need this player, we need that. But, when you got Kovacic and Kante playing like this, geez, just remember, we got levels here at Chelsea Football Club.
We do. And like you just said there, for today's game, and I said this in the preview yesterday, Clutch will know, Liverpool is one of the very, very few games where I'm like, don't play Jorginho. If he's fully fit, maybe, but Kante just suits playing Liverpool. Most teams we play, I prefer the control that Jojo gives us compared to just energy. But for this, it was just perfect. And I'm just going to call you RK. Yes, he did do that, but also the one time Mendy had to make that crazy save from Salah, Kante gave him a bit too much space. So if you're going to praise him for the defensive greatness, you also have to mention the 1 or 2 occasions where it wasn't so great. So, just to be fair. But, bloody hell, we're giving him a 9 or a 9.5. So what are you complaining about, bro? But hey, Clutch, you're gonna have to make a decision here about this 9.5. Or if you go 9.5, the chat is going to have to decide. So what you're going to go with?
Well, let's get the chat involved because I'm going to go 9.5. You just go to see, you have a Liverpool midfield of Milner, Henderson, and Fabinho, who are all really good players. That's a really good midfield. And we had a midfield too, and they made them all look like fools out there. Kante plays 2 for 1. He's literally he's 2 people instead of just 1 player out there. So I think you got to give the 9.5 to Kante. He was superb. He was always running all over the field. That energy that comes with him. And especially he got that assist. That was a nice little one-touch pass to Pulisic. So I give him a 9.5.
Fair dues. Chat, I've already seen a few people putting their ratings in, but chat, you're going to have to decide between 9 and 9.5. So put your ratings between those two. Yes, if you're going to go 10, I'm just going to count it as a 9.5. So, What can I see? 2 9.5s, a 9, another 9.5, another 9. So far it's close. So, ladies and gentlemen, get involved. We still have over 300 people watching. So, if you're new here, by the way, get subscribed, which would be absolutely fantastic. On the road to 15,000 subscribers. So, hit that big red subscribe button and smash the like button for me. We're doing well already on those likes. But let's get to 200 likes. Come on, boys. Just one click of a button. Doesn't cost you any money. Barely cost you any time. 9.5, 9, 9.5, 9.5. Although to King Tiger, I've seen it. You've said that twice. Yeah, I'm not going to let that slip, bro. There's 3 9s and an 11 and another 9 and a few 9.5s. But another one by King Tiger. King Tiger, you can't just say it multiple times. That's not how it works. But I let the chat have it. 9.5 it shall be. But yeah, let's move on to the front 3, I guess. I want to keep Pulisic last because he, was the most bipolar play on the pitch today. So let's get to Mason Mount. It was a weird performance by Mason because towards the end, he just looked so tired. Like he just looked like he could not run anymore. And one thing, by the way, I thought, tell me whether you agree, people, but I thought in the second half, once Pulisic was over here and we brought Callum on, well, initially, actually, before that, I thought we played like that second half and not with a 3 anymore because Pulisic was always here and Havertz was always in the left and Mount was kind of just everywhere. So that's what I thought we did anyway. Obviously, you can disagree if you want to, and we definitely did it. Obviously, once Jorginho came on. But Mount, yeah, obviously nearly scored just before halftime after Havertz should have done a bit better with that. Out of a shot from distance after he had a free kick in the wall. I don't know. It was an average performance, like good offensively impressing type thing. And work rate, phenomenal until he got super tired at the end. But in terms of effectivity, that wasn't that much from him today, I thought personally. Maybe you disagree. So I'm going to... I genuinely think it was worse than Alonso. I'm going to go 5.5. Maybe it's harsh. Maybe I should go 6. But I don't think it should be higher than 6, personally. But let's see what you boys think. Clutch?
I want to give him a 5. I think do I think it's a red card? No. But do I think he could have gotten a red card for that situation? Yes. So I think he's very lucky to lose his temper in that situation where he just kind of ripped his leg off and underneath the guy. They could have very easily said, hey, that's a red card. He's gone and that game's over. Because that was when we were 2-0 down. So I think, yes, I do like the fight in Mason. That's one of my favorite qualities about him is his willingness to fight for the badge, probably more than most players out there are willing to. His work rate is very high. He's very good at that. But offensively, he's killing attacks. He's not making the right pass. He's passing backwards, crossing to no one. Shots that probably should go in that he's just kind of missing. I think he's not had a great last couple of games. So, I think a 5 is fair for him today.
Yeah. I don't think you're super harsh with the 5, considering I'm at 5.5. But I don't think we should hold that potentially getting sent off moment against him because I don't think that was anywhere near enough for a red card. And if it was, then like Fantasy said here, I think it would have been more VAR than anybody else. But hey, who do I go with next? VJ, why don't I go with you? Clutch said 5. I went 5.5. Where do you sit on Mason's performance?
I'm going to go with the 5.5. Nothing extraordinary. And his work rate is what has got him like this 5.5 or anything as well, right? I think personally, 31st minute, the way that he conducted himself in that sort of an environment, I think I tend to agree with Clutch. It could have been a red card situation. So I believe he should probably control his temper a bit more and start playing a better football on the field. Of course, I've not forgotten whatever Mason Mount has done for the team and all that. So please do not slander me on the chat. I'm just going to go ahead and say this is a 5.5. I do love Mason Mount and I do love his performance. It's just that we have set high expectation for Mason Mount. So when he performs like this, it tends to disappoint us more than any other player on the pitch. I wouldn't have expected the same sort of a performance from Marcus Alonso. I know what Marcus Alonso does, but I also know what Mason Mount does, and that's probably the reason why the disappointment is even more higher when it comes to Mason Mount. So he gets a 5.5 for me. I
don't see my chat. They sometimes might be harsh, but I think they let you off for giving a 5.5 for Mason today, honestly. And Adash, as much as Global is trying to take the piss, yeah, unlike a certain Mr. Someone who doesn't have the balls to say anything anywhere, other than in interviews with Italian media, Mason does actually mean that when he does that. So, that's something. Maybe we should give him a 6 just for that, just to piss Lukaku off, maybe. But Con, what do you reckon, Mason?
I give him a 6 today. I don't think he was great, with him on the ball at times. But I think, like I said about Kante and Kova today, right? In games like this against this Liverpool team, you need people who are going to be running for 90 minutes of the game. And Mount did that. He ran his absolute arse off. And I would be one of those people who just praising somebody for running. But you can't have that level of performance against Liverpool if you don't have a player like Mount. You don't have the Kova and Kante in there. You need these players. And today he gave it his all, And, off the ball, it was really important for us today. Him running and pressing like that was really, really important today. Liverpool could not get in a rhythm at all. They had spells and moments, but they just couldn't get in a rhythm at all. And that's just because of the front three, how well they pressed. And then Kova and Kante behind, and the wing-backs, I don't want to give anyone in that forward line below a 6 today. So 6 for Mount.
Fair. I mean, overall, we still sit on that 5.5 then. I do apologise, Con, but that is fair. I mean, I saw a lot of slander for Kai Havertz today, which I thought was completely unjustified. The guy hadn't played minutes of football any. And obviously caught the Rona in between. By the way, I never mentioned that, but I presume most people know. Alisson, Roberto Firmino, and John Matip were all out missing with the Rona, as was Jurgen Klopp and apparently 2 other members of staff. But yeah, anyway. So it was Kelleher, whatever his first name is, in goal for Liverpool, who actually, to be fair, did quite well. In all honesty, there wasn't much of a frailty from what it looked like. But yeah, Havertz obviously should have essentially had an assist for Pulisic super early in the game. Obviously, the whole Mason nearly making it 3-2 just before half-time. Kai Havertz arguably should have made it 3-2 from where he received the ball in that position. Was he good? No. Was he awful? I don't think he was. And I think you do have to take into a little bit of consideration. If Lukaku wasn't such an idiot, Kai Havertz doesn't start today. The only reason Kai Havertz was forced to start today was because Lukaku is an idiot. So if you're going to blame anybody for Havertz being bad, blame Lukaku. So, that's the end of that discussion, to be honest. But I'll give him, because I'm not going to give him less points. I'm not going to be extra nice because he hasn't played. So I'm, for me, going to give him the same as Mason. I think they were equally as useful in pressing and slightly lacking certain things in terms of final product. Yeah, so that's why I'll go for the same. I'll reverse the order, kind of. So I'll go with you first this time, Con. What do you reckon? Is 5.5 fair? Obviously, you wanted to give no one less than a 6, so I guess maybe you sit on a 6, or would you go higher than that?
No, yeah, I sit on a 6 for Kai as well. I think his pressing was really good today. I think context is very important. He's not fully fit, and he ran, and he's coming up against Konate and Van Dijk. They're 2 great centre halves. They're fantastic. A lot of people sleep on Konate because he just hasn't played a lot. But this guy, he's better than Upamecano. The only reason why Upamecano got that move to Bayern and people hyped Upamecano more is because he played more. Konate just suffered with injuries, But believe me, he's a hell of a centre.
We've learned this season, unfortunately, with certain players, that is annoying when players always injured. It is a problem.
Yeah, it is a problem for sure. But I think Kai did well. He was holding up the ball. He wasn't losing it too much. When he was getting it, he was laying it off to someone most of the time. He was keeping it moving, and the pressing as well. I can't look at any of them front three today and just give them less than a 6 for just how hard they worked in a game like this. It's not like this is just a Watford, a Burnley, whatever, where they just pressed and worked well. This is Liverpool. And we did to Liverpool what they did to other teams. We didn't allow them to play. We pressed high up the pitch, And nobody does that to Liverpool, bar and City. So that just shows you how well we played today. And that doesn't happen if not every single one of these players on the pitch are working 200%, And I mean, not even 100%, 200%. So that's why Kai gets a 6 for me today.
Fair dues. And Rex, appreciate you so much in the chat as always. Ladies and gentlemen, by the way, and this is not a hint at you, Rex, obviously. If you want to get us to talk about any sort of situations or whatever, if you want to get us talking about anything specific that we haven't quite mentioned yet, use the super chat function and get subscribed if you haven't already, and smash that like button. What can I see? Global, rate Havertz. There's no need to bring in Lukaku into the ratings. Bro, I'm bringing Lukaku up as many times as I want because he pissed me off. So I rate you because you're always in the chat, but you're going to have to deal with that because if it only pisses me off, he pissed me off. So, that's that. But, I'll go with VJ last. So, Clutch, what you reckon? 5.5, 6 for Kai Havertz? Where do you sit on it?
I think his movement was really good, to be fair. I don't know why people are so mad at him because there was no end product, sure. But when Havertz plays up top, what do we kind of expect from Havertz? We expect him to move around defenses and shift center backs, and that's what he does. I mean, I think I'd probably give him the same as Mason. I don't think he was outstanding, but I don't think he was terrible. And I would give it with, I'm not going to say put a star on it, but I think you also got to take into account, he was never meant to start this game. I didn't want to start him. And I know a lot of people were calling for him and Werner, and it's no, I don't want either of them because they've both been out for so long.
Bench. People are stupid if they thought Werner was going to play today. Honestly, they have no idea what this is.
I figured he might come off the bench if we had an opportunity, but I didn't think... The only reason I even thought Lukaku would start guaranteedly yesterday when I said it is because I didn't think Havertz had the game time. But for the amount of game time he did have, I'd say he did the best he could do. So I'd go 5.5.
All right. I give Lukaku minus 10. And minus 10 because apparently the chat wants me to rate Lukaku. No, they don't. But they like me not talking about Lukaku. So Lukaku gets minus 10. Should get a minus 100.
Can I make a point quickly?
Please do.
I just remembered when I was watching the game, right, and I think the commentator said to Gary Neville, he said Lukaku said that he can he's multi-dimensional and he could even press. And Gary Neville turned around and said, "No, he doesn't press. No, he can't." And he said, "You sure about that?" I said, "Yes, Lukaku can't press." I just started laughing at it. I thought it's funny.
No, it's true. It's like people thinking Ronaldo can press. No, he can't. No. I mean, to be honest, Ronaldo maybe could. Ronaldo might just refuse to. But Lukaku, this is not even a criticism of Lukaku, to be honest, that part, because he's probably just a bit too big to do a lot of pressing. It's do you know what I mean? They're not going to put Van Dijk up front and tell him to press. It's one of those. But the fact that he keeps saying he can and can do everything, so why are you not doing everything then? Other than giving bloody interviews, mate. But anyway, so you said 5.5. I said 5.5. Con said 6. VJ, which one is it going to be?
I'm going to go with the 5.5, partially because we just rated Mount 5.5. I don't think so. Havertz was any better than Mount today, to be honest. But then, given the circumstances of what he, the way that he was introduced to the squad today, I believe he did okay-ish. And I completely agree with the fact that I agree with the point that Khan mentioned. Every single player in this game has given their 100% and they deserve 6 or above. But there is also a certain aspect of things that when you look at someone who's playing as a center forward or a false 9 or whatever that position might be, to be on that front of the goal and then score goals for us, which I seem to be, which I feel that is lagging in our squad. Not now, probably for the last 1.5 years, right? So 5.5 is something I feel is a fair score for Havertz in this game.
Sorry, Con, we're doing you a bit harsh here, but I'll give you an extra, weight. Con gets away goals for Pulisic's rating. But before that, I will read out Rex's super chat. Appreciate you so much, bro. Saying, I'm mad at Lukaku too, but the best thing is to let Tuchel handle the situation. And in my opinion, the best outcome is for Lukaku to come back into the squad. He's a class striker. I 1,000,000% agree. I mean, I am mad that I'm going to talk about it because, it's quite literally my job to do here, to talk about things. Do you know what I mean? But 1,000,000%. If Tuchel comes to the conclusion we can bring him back into the squad and play him, bring him back. If Tuchel thinks do not do that, it's going to cause these problems and those problems, find a way to not do it. I understand that because I was in that space by Matisse, I'm not sure if any of you heard what they were talking about. A lot of people are like, it needs to be get gone. There's certain things that, we can all want us to back the manager. There's only so much backing the manager that can happen when the player is worth £100 million and no one wants to pay anywhere near those £100 million right now. So, that is going to be a tough one. So if Tuchel doesn't find a way to bring Lukaku back, Lukaku's definitely staying until the end of the season. He might not be used much if there's a big problem between them continuously, but I agree. The best thing is that they somehow make up, and he just works his way back. He just works his way back, and earns our trust, earns Tuchel's trust, earns his teammates' trust. That's essentially what he needs to do. And if he has a problem with that, then he can again F off, quite frankly. But let's get to Christian Pulisic. Now, basically, until he scored, I would have given him about a 1 because he literally did everything wrong that he could have done wrong. He missed a sitter, literally basically identical to Mane's chance a couple of minutes later. He couldn't score it, which was super unfortunate. It clearly also ruined his own confidence, which was a big problem because, again, could have helped stopping the second goal from happening. There was a couple of occasions where he just gave the ball away so stupid. I'm like, what do you do, man? But then when he scored that goal, and what a finish it was. Oh, my days, what a finish it was to just smack it into the roof of the net. Honestly, absolutely brilliant. And from then on, he was brilliant. And it's like literally that goal kicked it in him, because that's sometimes the problem. A tap-in, a penalty, they don't give you that confidence. But a nice finish, I'm sure we've all played football, I'm not saying any of us have been as good as Pulisic, of course not. But we've all played football. And if you've ever hit a ball nicely and you've scored a big goal, in whatever level you've played at, it just makes you feel great. And you're going to play better. You have extra energy. You're quicker. Everything just works better. And that's what happened to him today. And it doesn't happen when you get a tap-in. And he was honestly brilliant after that, honestly. At wing back, up front, I was very, very happy. He scored in the first 45, but I still agree to Fantasy's comment here. But when did he score? Just before the 45th minute, wasn't it? Do you know what I mean?
41st, I think.
There you go. So
no, it's 45 plus 1. 45 plus 1.
45 plus 1. So it literally was. Fantasy, I take it back. You said for the first 45, he was the worst player. I agree. Honestly, 1 or 2 in terms of rating for that first 45. But after that, I'm talking 8. Honestly, 8. So is it going to be a fully 50-50 rating of those two? No, because the goal counts a little bit. I'm going to give him a 7 because of the goal. The goal quite literally won us a point today. Quite literally. And he was the closest one of our team to actually score a 3-2 with his volley effort. Obviously, it was straight in the middle of the goal, but the way he took the effort, there was not much direction he can give it. He just got on the end of it and hoped to put it in the net. Unfortunately, hit it straight at the goalkeeper, but it still was the only one who got close, which is, yes, Callum came on. I don't really understand. Pulisic just does better at wing back. People say, why? Clutch might think, why does always Pulisic have to go to wing back? Because he does better at it than Callum. That's why he does. It's him and not Callum. So, yeah, sometimes when you just throw a bit of a hissy fit, like Callum did away at Zenit, when he just could not be bothered to do anything, that then allows you to not play there anymore because the manager is scared it's going to fuck everything up. So, unfortunately, that was Pulisic's problem today. And even then, he was offensively more involved than Callum Hudson-Odoi was. So, that's that. But also, in the first 45 minutes, Pulisic was worse than I've ever seen Callum Hudson-Odoi play. Yes, I know 7 is too high with how bad it was in the first half. I know, but you got us the point, boys. I'm going to go 7. Hey, if some of you are going to go 6 or whatever, I get it. I understand. But, let's be nice on an occasion. Let's be nice for a bit. I'll let you go last, Con, so you can have your away goals at the end. I'll go with VJ next. What do you make of Christian Pulisic? And like I said, I understand if people think my 7 is a tad high.
I think 7 is a fair score here. I would have gone with the 7 as well. So the thing is, he is someone who's been playing 2 positions in a single game, every time when he plays. And both the positions are nowhere close to each other. When people play as a striker and then they go play as a wing forward sometimes when there is a formation shift, that is understandable. But then his adaptation level is good. He plays as a wing back and then he plays as a forward certain times in the span of 90 minutes. So I think that's a good adaptation factor as well for for Pulisic, and the way that Thomas Tuchel has assigned him roles. He kind of understands both the roles clearly, is what I think. Maybe he understands both the roles clearly, but maybe on the false 9 position he's not able to perform as much as what we would want him to. I think he was the difference between a 2-1 scoreline and a 3-2 scoreline, if you get what I mean. He still made that into a draw, but he could have also turned that into a win for us. So of course, we could go high and rate him 7.5 or 8 had he finished those chances. So I'm going to be nominal here and say probably 7 is a great score for him.
Fair dues. Clutch, I'll go with you next. Obviously, I even tweeted during the first half, people were like, oh, that age. Well, I'm like, bro, I've already apologized. When he then did score, I like quote tweeted my own tweet where I was like, son off right now in the middle of the first half. Do you know what I mean? And I was like, I'm sorry, Christian. But that's just me. I tweet, criticize a player, then they score. Maybe I should criticize Mason Mount more. I have an agenda. Sorry, boys. But, maybe I should criticize Ruben more. That was what I want to see. But Clutch, first half, I know you agree. We talked about it earlier. Was shocking. But the goal was brilliant, and after that, like people say, we get cut open when he plays wing back. So why didn't Liverpool have a single chance? Who was it? Tiger King, I think, or King Tiger, whatever. Why didn't Liverpool have a single chance once he was at right wing back? Not because he was at right wing back. That wasn't the reason. It was more because we had a midfield 3. But still, we didn't get any worse with him at right wing back on that side. Like honestly. But what you reckon, Clutch? Is 7 fair? Is it not?
Well, in that first 43 minutes until he scored, I sat there and I was like, I'm going to have to eat my own words. I'm sitting here and I said, all he needs is a run of games in that left wing position. I said, I guarantee he'll come good. I promise you. And that first half, and I was like, as it was winding down, I was like, oh no, I'm going to have to eat my words, ain't I? And then he scored that goal. And I've always said this, Pulisic is a confidence player. Once you give him confidence and he gets that confidence, he's a player that will change the game single-handedly if he has to. After that goal, everything changed with him. I think in the second half, he was pretty much the only one. If we were going to score again, it was going to be him until he got moved to right wing back. And even then, he was going to cause havoc to make something happen. I think we lost a lot of that when he left the front. I think our attack lost a little bit of the sting. We didn't have somebody who was moving around, getting into those positions, because he was the only one going to do that. Nobody else was actually going to be getting into those positions. I think because I have an agenda for Pulisic, I'm going to go 7.5. But I think this is something for him to build off of, and we can see if we keep doing this, I think we'll see even greater heights from him.
That is fair. I mean, the only slight disagreement I have is you said give him confidence. Clearly today he had to get himself that confidence because he was started left wing back and was still literally, don't want to swear too much, but shit. Like, there's no other word for what he did for the first 45 minutes until 45 plus 1. But, by the way, again, shout out to the assist, was good. Shout out to the offensive pressing by, offensive defending by Rüdiger, and the finish, again, just wonderful. 7.5, again, for me, it's just a tad high because he was so bad in the first half, but I get it, Clutch, I get it, and I'll let you have it. Con, so you sit on the decider now. If you say 7.5, we give him 7.5, but where do you sit on Pulisic's performance? It's just difficult because he was so clutch with that goal, but was just so bad before that, was he not?
I'm going to give him an 8 today. And hear me out. The reason I give him an 8 is because at Chelsea, all we ever complain about, especially on this channel, but what we say is like, attackers playing well, but they don't finish the chances, right? And that when everyone's saying that first chance from Pulisic was a massive chance, the keeper came out so quick. Like, if he shoots first time there, he's not scoring. I promise you that he's not scoring. The keeper's smothering that all day. I think the only choice he really did.
Right corner, I think he does.
Nah, bro. The keeper came out really well. And hats off to that keeper, by the way. Like, for a second, he was so composed. I thought he was a really classy act today, that keeper from Liverpool. I don't know who he is, but he was so composed. So
it's killer.
Anyway,
I think that kid's going to be a really good keeper.
But the reason I gave him an 8,
I watched him last year.
Yeah, so the reason I gave him an 8 is just because he made a difference. He's one of our attackers who made a difference, and it's a massive game to do it in, Like, we always complain that our attackers play well, but they don't have any output. Today he had the output, and that's all I care about. I want difference makers on the pitch. And after he got that goal, like you said, he was just, bro, I saw him at the 89th minute, and he was just dripping with sweat. Like, he worked his arse off today, and without that goal, we lose today. We lose, and like, at a point, I think we all know that we're not really in the title race anymore. We know that. But that point's massive for morale. And after everything, the Lukaku thing, that point's massive. And he was a massive difference maker today. And that's why he's getting an 8, because he stepped up. He might have not had his best game, but he was there when it mattered, and he got that important goal. And that's something our attackers don't normally do. So I'm going to give him probably higher than I should, But I'm just happy that one of our took it on their shoulders, and that finish as well. Jesus Christ, that was a going off. Like
The
just
finish
because
was good.
Kovacic was,
Lou obviously. Sorry, go on.
and just to say, just because Kovacic's goal was outrageous, don't take anything away from Pulisic's goal because that was great too.
It was a brilliant. No, I completely.
And
agree.
that's that guy said still 103. What about Salah today, bro? What about Salah? Yeah, the attackers missed chances, bro. But the good ones will also score in the game when they missed.
It is true. The one thing, not criticism is the wrong word. More, it's confusion. He looked super slow today. Like there was one through ball in the first half where I'm just like, where's your pace gone? I was so baffled. Like, sorry, why are you so slow all of a sudden? I just always still remember his run against Man City, you know, obviously Project Restart. And I was like, you're quick. So why are you not quick anymore? He looked like he was never full sprint. It was always like just running, not sprinting. I don't know why. But yeah, I mean, I did give you away goals, but obviously now it's not a decisive one. So we sit under 7.5 anyway. But I appreciate the 8 and the positivity and the enthusiasm, Con. I do appreciate it.
Let me ask you a question quickly, bro. Just a quick question, bro, just for you. Would you rather Pulisic to play well for the full 90 and get 0 like output, or would you prefer him being a bit meh, but him getting the output? What would you all prefer in any match?
I don't think you can, as
be
a
honest.
forward.
Be honest. You'd prefer the output because do you know what? Mohamed Salah is a great example of that.
You can play well without any output.
But bro, Mohamed Salah is a great example of that. People never mention how bad Salah plays when he gets goal contributions, right? Because he scores and assists, right? You notice it when he doesn't because he doesn't really influence the game as much as people think. It's just because he gets output. And that's what I want from Chelsea attackers from now. Like, if they can give me output, I don't care if you don't play the greatest for football over the 90 minutes. I just want output from you guys. That's what we pay you for. And Pulisic today, he gave me that. So that's why he's getting a higher rating than I gave Kai and Mount because he gave us what we needed and that was the output. That's just from just how I'm seeing things, bro.
Oh, no, I fully agree. I would just say, though, I mean, I slightly disagree with you on the chance. I think he has to score it regardless. The early one, and then we're 1-0 up, and then maybe we're not talking about he won us a point, but maybe won us 3 points. And also, I think he can stop the second goal from ever happening, which that could, because we scored 2 goals in the end, could have also won us 3 points. So yes, he took one chance, but there was still 2 occasions where he could have helped us get 3 points rather than just 1. But he was still better than the other 2, which is why we all gave him a 7 as well. So that's just, you know, my counter argument to what you said.
So since I get away goals, does that mean he gets the 8?
Yeah, but no, because we have a 7 and a 7 and a 7.5 and an 8.
I'm going to change mine to an 8.
Let's go, Clutch.
Right.
I love you.
All right, then Congress away goals gets the 8 for flip's sake. Hey, I promise you away goals, you having it. All right, I stick to my word.
Laurenz, we both will go to 6.5 and average it out to 7.5 once again.
No. I can't go 6.5. That's too much. Subs. Who was the first sub? Was Jorginho the first sub? Yes.
Yes.
Jorginho coming on for Chalobah. And then, of course, again, now think of Jorginho because I'll move it around now who played where. So Aspi then obviously moved to right centre back. Pulisic, poor guy, had to move over to right wing back. And then Kante was like here. Kova was like here. And Jorginho played obviously the 6 as he usually does. While before that change, it was, like I explained earlier, Mount is a 10. Havertz and Pulisic like to his left and right in front of him rather than like a 2-1. It was a 1-2 in front of the 3-4. If that makes sense. And then obviously, yeah, it was these 2 until Callum Hudson-Odoi came on for Kai Havertz. And we only made 2 subs today. I'm pretty sure. Someone correct me if I'm wrong with that, but I'm pretty sure I'm not. I can't lie. I mean, I'm not going to give him an NA, but I didn't see anything from him. Did anyone else see anything from him? VJ, I'll go with you first.
Nope. I mean, honestly, I'm not even sure he was in the game. Like, there were a couple of instances where he was in offside position, could have been onside, and the play could have, better progressed. But he was on the offside position, which also meant that Mount was not able to put that pass to Cho. But I don't think so.
I think that was when still Havertz was on the pitch, and that was Kai. That situation, you mean?
Kai, was it like on the right flank towards the right extreme? Where he was in an offside
then
position.
we're talking about a different situation. Then it might have been Callum, my bad. Go
on. So, yeah, I think I don't know what to rate him. Basically, he didn't have much of chances in this game, so I'd give him a 5, probably.
I mean, he played 10 minutes. We could give him an NA if we wanted to.
Okay. I mean, see,
Up
since
to
he
you.
did not have much, since he did not have much to do, anyways, he gets a 6 for me. That's it.
Fair enough. I did also realize I wanted to give Jorginho a rating. We didn't. But anyway, what did you say just now? 6 or 5?
A 6. Let's stick with 6. I mean, he
Let's
didn't
stick with 6. Let's finish Callum off and then
influence the
let's
game.
do Jorginho last. Go on. Sorry?
He didn't negatively influence the game in the 10 minutes he was on the pitch, so he gets a 6 for me. Maybe.
Obviously, that's a sub rating, so you get it with a star. You can't compare it to Havertz and Mount's 5.5 ratings because otherwise, obviously, like, well, how was he better than Havertz and Mount? Because he wasn't, obviously. It's a sub rating. But let's see what the other people rate his sub performance as. Clutch.
I'd probably give him an NA. I mean, there wasn't much to. I think he only had like 5 touches in the game. So
okay, I get it. But now that we have one rating, we all need to give him ratings because how can I mix?
Okay,
between 6
then
and
I just give him an average 6. He wasn't bad. He didn't do anything that caused any problems, and he didn't do anything great that actually led to any sort of chance. I'd just give him a 6 then.
Fair. And Con?
I would personally give him an NA as well, but if we have to do ratings, because Laurenz out here, even when we've got the Rona, he's making us
Oh no, because that means 3 NAs, because I probably would have gone NA. That means 3 NAs over 1 rating means NA.
He did do one good thing though, is when the ball was played in behind from Mount and he won the free kick against Konate.
No idea why Konate got booked for that. Never a yellow card, in my opinion.
Can I just say, how did Fabinho not get booked that game?
Exactly, because he played advantage in that occasion. It was like the most blatant tactical foul I've ever seen. I don't understand. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and with Jorginho as well, just why he's on me, bro. I would have gave him an NA as well. I didn't really see him much. The change of system didn't work, but then Tuchel, he kind of changed it back. And you saw Kovacic playing in the front 3 on the left. So I'd probably give Jorginho an NA as well, because I didn't really see much of him. Like, if I gave him a rating, it'd just be me chatting out my ass, like, to be honest.
Okay. I would give Jorginho a rating. I would give him 6 just because he's played like with at a time like 20 minutes. I think that probably justifies it. But we'll have, maybe we'll have force you to a rating if we have enough ratings. But if the other boys say NA, we'll give him the NA too. So I'll go 6 for now. But let's see what the other boys say. Clutch, NA or rating? And if rating, what rating?
I want to give him an NA because if I do give him a rating, he did have a little dodgy back pass that could have led to a goal that I think Rüdiger cleaned up. So I don't really want to go too harsh on him, so because he's played so much, and it would be kind of unfair for him to still be playing all these games and come in and get criticized for one mistake. So I'd go NA.
I mean, we gave Chalobah a 5, even though of his 2 mistakes, one of which giving away a goal. So I don't even with the mistake, how low can you go for Jorginho for 1 mistake that didn't lead to anything? But fair dues. So we have 2 NAs so far and 1 rating so far. So VJ, it's on you.
I'll give it 7 actually.
7, fair dues.
Yeah. So nothing special, but typical Jorginho performance. Good control on the game. That's what you expect from him, and I think he played through the pain. He's not 100% yet ready. So fair play for him to coming onto the pitch and supporting that midfield. So 7 for me.
Fair enough. I mean, a lot of people talking about the whole team shifted down. I personally don't think it had anything to do with Jorginho himself. I see what people mean, but I think that was more the change of system. And quite frankly, like Clutch said, taking Pulisic out of the attack because he was the only one doing anything in the attack. So then you took him out of the attack and playing him at right wing back. I think that was much more the problem than putting Jorginho in the midfield. I don't think that changed anything. I think it might have been very similar if we just put Callum, brought him on at right wing back and left Pulisic up top, but who knows? I mean, ladies and gentlemen, we're tied between 2 NAs and 2 ratings. So I can ask the chat, shall we go rating or shall we go NA? You lot put it down, but I've only seen 1 or 2 NAs and a lot of people talking about ratings. So I guess I'll give him that 6.5 with the start that we have, even though I think it's a tad high, but hey, here we are. And then Thomas Tuchel. Where do I put him? Push Kovacic a bit up because, like Con said, in the end, he pushed up very high to some extent. Thomas Tuchel gets a 10 today. Thomas Tuchel for me, anyway. For me.
Dub.
Because I think he dealt with the whole Lukaku drama very well. And partly dealing with that very well is the reason why we managed to get a result today. I also think there was not much of a complaint with the lineup. Yeah, maybe Callum and Rabiot rather than Pulisic would have made more sense to me. Maybe bringing Ziyech on for Jorginho, sure, but who knows? Maybe then we still lose the game. It's easy to say that. So it's easy in hindsight. But also, and I want to point that out quite heavily, there was small talks about, a small number of players and players that are unhappy anyway. Are maybe already are siding with Lukaku in this whole drama. I think at least the players that played today, and that includes every single one of them, even someone like Pulisic that maybe would have some reasons to not be all that pleased because, yes, he's getting minutes as of late, but never in his minute, never in his position, which, apparently for Hudson-Odoi is the worst thing in the world. So, and, touched on it with Con, worked his bloody socks off. It's, definitely not like downing tools, do you know what I mean? So, and the whole team did that today. And to fight back from 2-0 down against Liverpool. Liverpool, yes, their last 2 games were brilliant. They lost against Leicester, drew against Spurs, and missing a couple of players and the manager. But still, 2-0 down to Liverpool, it doesn't happen often that you still get something from it. And that doesn't happen if the team are not behind the manager. And that's one of the, as much as this Lukaku debacle has been awful and awful to witness and awful to have to experience, because I want a £100 million striker to be an asset and not a detriment. And if anything, he's been a detriment. Not for the majority of the season, especially the last 2 games. But aside from the last 2 games, Villa at home and Arsenal away, was he that much of an asset so far? Could certainly be debated, considering he's earning like £320,000 a week or £25,000 a week. Where's my understanding for Lukaku? Yeah, because I wanted to put him behind Havertz, but Havertz actually got subbed off for someone. So where do I put it? So big shout out to Tuchel. I thought you handled it very well, and I'm just glad to see that the fan base, at least 99% of them that I have seen and heard online or whatever, behind Tuchel. Reportedly, the board behind Thomas Tuchel, and judging from what we saw on the pitch today, the team is also behind Thomas Tuchel. And for him to achieve that, even through a tough spell, as we know with Chelsea managers, that's often difficult. Fair play to him. Honestly, big up. And I'm glad, at least for the time being, he's the one that's being backed, and I hope it stays that way. Clutch, I'll go with you next. I mean, you can agree with the 10, of course, but obviously elaborate on how you think he dealt with the situation or whatever you want to say.
I think you would just give him a 10 for basically how he dealt with Lukaku. He showed strength when previously some managers might have not done that. They might have just let him go because you don't know how the board's going to react to it. I think his entire reaction to Lukaku and how Lukaku dealt with the situation, he dealt with it immensely. And like you said, I mean, if any players out there, you wouldn't fight back from 2-0 if you weren't fighting for your manager. Every one of those players were fighting for Thomas Tuchel today. So, I mean, yes, he had a couple moments where he probably should have put someone else somewhere. I think he's, even though he complains about not having 5 subs, I think he only does 2 subs because he's still worried about getting that injured player and not being able to sub him off and then going down. I think he always has that in the back of his mind. So I think that's why he's not subbing his 3rd player in. But against Liverpool, to go out there, to go 2-0 down, to come back and get a result, to get a point, that shows incredible fight, and that shows the trust that Tuchel has in his players. So I think for him today, he did everything right. As much as I do criticize him at points for some of the way we go about our attack, today he got it absolutely right in every aspect. So I'm giving him a 10. I'd give him higher if I could, but 10 has to be the fair point.
Fair. And Vijay, I'll finish it off with Con. So Vijay, I'll go with you next. Would you agree with the 10? Obviously, managers are always difficult, and especially today. Would I, without the Lukaku situation, have given him quite a 10? Probably not, considering we didn't win. But I do think you have to consider that whole situation, honestly.
Yeah, from a manager's perspective, dealing with this external circumstances as well come into equation when you go for a game. It's not just about the 90 minutes on the pitch. They have a different job apart from that as well. So I think the way that he dealt with the situation, now Lukaku has been talking about professionalism this and that. And you know what? This is called professionalism. The way that he dealt with the situation, that's called professionalism. And I'm really happy with the way that Thomas Tuchel has dealt with the situation, ensuring that there's not a lot of media leaks from the board's perspective. What board has decided, what Tuchel has decided. It's just a simple statement. He's not going to play this game. Rest of the decisions will be probably taken behind closed doors, and then we'll let you know once it is, decided. So he basically knows what to talk to the media, how to talk to the media, how to discuss, how to deal with the media. When you have one such manager in your team, probably I expect Romelu Lukaku to learn from him, at least, even if he doesn't know how to deal with media. So I personally think the way that he dealt with the situation, he deserves a 10, and also the mentality that the players expressed after going two down, and kind of situation that we had in the midweek, all of that could have played in the minds of the players, but then for them to come back and get that victory, a draw for us, the 2-goal equalizer, that I don't think so. It was just by the players, or it was from the players. It was rather Tuchel, who has instigated this sort of a mentality in those players. So for that, he deserves a 10.
Fair. And Con, finish it off for us.
Mate, under any other manager, Chelsea would have capitulated. After this December, this Lukaku situation, yeah, we're finished, bro. We're going to be mid-table. Our players are unhappy. We're losing games. But with Tuchel, I know we're not winning as many games as we'd like, but we're drawing games. We're not losing, And today, the reaction, it just shows you these players fight for him. They love him, They want him to be his manager. And, how he's dealt with the Lukaku thing is just superb. He just dropped him out of the squad. Don't care if you're 100 million. You get out there, learn your place. Don't you dare talk about us fans like that either. Saying Inter have the best fans in world football. Shut up, you clown. We're right here. Did you not hear Stamford Bridge today? The Inter fans, mate, they're putting out banners saying, yeah, you left in the storm or something like that. Goodbye, Lukaku. They don't care about you. Idiot, man. That situation really got me annoyed. And I don't know how I'm going to forgive Lukaku, but Tuchel, just how he's just stopped us from capitulating and just falling apart. Just nothing short from amazing. And against Liverpool, we played like that with Asby and Alonso at wing-back. Come on now. No one else is doing that, bro. Easy 10. Anyone who's not saying a 10, you're lying to yourself. It's a 10, 10, and 10.
There you go. I agree. Big fan always of Con's positivity. Big fan. And just to react to that quickly, because I saw in the chat, Andrew Bong saying, side note, but my underrated moment is Chalobah defending bloody 3v1 in the first half with Salah. Absolutely insane. That's worth a goal to me. Didn't hear them talk about it. We didn't mention it as such because, to be honest, I didn't quite realize it was 3v1. But I do, now that you say it like that, remember the situation. And that was one of the brilliant tackles that I meant when he threw that tackling against Salah. But yeah, so we did touch on it, which is, I still gave him a 4, to be honest, but the boys raised it up to the 5. What can I hear now? Yeah, exactly. What the Interbender said, doesn't matter if you can stay in the rain if you're not here through the storm, or something like that, at least paraphrased roughly like that. But I think, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to round it out here. Again, we've had a lot of draws recently, way too many still for my liking, even today. But most other draws, United, Burnley, Everton, Wolves, Brighton, they've all pissed me off, essentially. Today, we went 2-0 down, we fought back. It was a good opponent for once, even if they were missing a couple of players. We were missing more players, let's not kid ourselves. So I'm not too displeased. I'm not too displeased, and I'm very happy with the fight I saw with, like I just touched on in terms of when I rated Tuchel, just that I saw that people are behind him, that the fans are behind him, the players are behind him. The board, for the time being, at least thankfully, is behind him. And that's what I want to see. Now I want us to sign a left wing back that's capable of playing left back if we ever switch formation. And ideally get some sort of right back. If we sign a right back and recall Emerson, not ideal, but I get it if they don't want to sign 2 players in January just because of injuries. I understand if they don't want to do that. I get it. But ideally, I'd rather sign 2. 1 in each position. But hey, we'll talk about that. Tomorrow there's supposedly a meeting between Romelu Lukaku and Thomas Tuchel and God knows who else. So let's see if anything comes out tomorrow, depending on what time. There might be an emergency stream tomorrow. Otherwise, I'm sure we'll just know when we play Spurs on Wednesday. We find out whether Lukaku's involved then. So the latest I'll see you is Tuesday, but you never know. Depends on what happens tomorrow, whether I'll see you tomorrow as well. So ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate every single one of you that has tuned in today. Obviously, check out all of these guys. And by the way, quick shout out to Big Con over here, because the man just before it turned the new year has finally hit the big 100,000 followers on Twitter. Congratulations, Con. Big up yourself, Con. But still, we don't have to stop at 100,000 followers. So if you don't already, go down below. Link is down in the description to his Twitter. So follow him as well. Obviously, check out Sportswire on YouTube. That is VJ's YouTube channel. And of course, check out Clutch on Twitter as well. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe, smash the like button. And thank you guys for watching. Up the Chelsea, upwards and onwards. And I'll see you when I see you.